One. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a beautiful Monday, Thanksgiving week. We got an awesome show lined up for you all today. We're getting ready. We're going to dive right in.
The Insurance Bro Show is a podcast for agents who want to grow their agency and be titans of the insurance industry. Learn from a panel of experts who share their agency struggles, their experiences with the nation's best carriers, and share the marketing secrets that successful insurance agents are using today. Now, here's your host, the Insurance Bro, James Cias.
All right, all of you insurance pros out there, let's dive into another fun episode. But before we do, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review and help other like-minded insurance agents find value from our awesome guests as we rise up in those podcast rankings. I will sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, I would love to have you on and learn from you as well. Go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest to schedule your time slot. And don't forget to follow me on all social media at Insurance Bro Show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're super excited, super honored to bring yet another incredible guest on the Insurance Bro Show. Our guest today is a second-generation insurance professional, and he is taking it to a whole new level. This immutable insurance pro has a passion for one thing above all else: people. After a decade and a half of experience in different parts of the insurance world, he launched a podcast of his own so that he could share the combined knowledge, experience, and expertise of all the incredible and intelligent people he's met along the way. For those young, hungry agents out there looking to learn, our guest is an incredible resource and a wealth of knowledge. Best of all, he's eager to share what he knows and make the industry he loves a friendlier place. Joining us today out of Maumelle, Arkansas, give it up for the host, the mayor of the Insurance Town podcast, and welcome to the show, Heath, Shearon. There it is, Heath. Welcome to the show, or should I say, Monsieur le Maire? That's Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, man, I love me some Tombstone. Great.
One of the greatest movies of all time, let's be honest.
Dude, I got to be honest, I hadn't seen it yet until, in 40 years of my life, until about 6 months ago, man. I've seen it twice since then.
Oh, man.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Love it, man. I know that clip. I just watched it in the last 6 months. I know that clip.
That's incredible. My brother and I grew up on that movie. Basically, I was in the Navy, and when I would come home from the Navy, that was one of the movies that we watched together every single time. So lots of good memories, lots of good times on that movie. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. Tell me about yourself, Heath. Tell me about you're a second generation insurance professional. So did you just know growing up that this was what you were going to do?
Man, I tried not to be real honest with you. Actually was avoided it as long as I could. And then I was actually a pastor for several years before I got into it. And then, finally decided being a pastor, you don't make a whole lot of money and you can't really support your family on that. So my father, who, as you mentioned earlier, was a life insurance guy, still selling. He's gangster, man. He's still selling to this day. And I guess it's 50-something years later. And he told me, you ought to start selling some insurance. And I got into it and realized I was pretty good at it. And didn't want to stay in his shadow too long. Thought I'd blaze my own trail, and went from life insurance onto the P&C side. Nice. And all the while building relationships, getting involved in the community, and learning as much as I could about P&C. I quickly went from selling insurance to working on the carrier side. Worked for a work comp broker for a little bit. And then got into a company called EMC out of Des Moines, Iowa, and worked there for a good portion of my career. And then got back into sales again. And, along the way, I've kind of spanned a whole lot of different areas. I've been on the company side. I've been on the agent side. I've worked a lot with associations.
Mhm.
and now I've got my podcast.
Yeah, that's awesome. The podcast, I'm a big fan of podcasts, as you can tell.
Yeah, dude, for
They're
sure.
Yeah, they're fantastic opportunities to, for one, meet new people, for two, learn from a bunch of really smart people, and just grow in so many different ways. Grow our business, grow our knowledge base, grow our incredible relationships that we get to start and forge. Tell me a little something though. When you were on the carrier side, what were some things that you loved about being on the carrier side? Tell me a little bit about that experience.
I will tell you that the biggest thing that I loved about it was building relationships with the agents that I got to know and sitting down with them. I was able to ask so many questions and get behind the curtain, so to speak, and kind of learn what they're doing, how they're doing things. And I didn't want to be that carrier rep that just came in and slid the documents across the desk and said, hey, here's your numbers. You're doing good or
Hmm.
you're doing bad. I need more. I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to be a rep that would add value, and I wanted
Hmm.
to research and learn as much as I could about their agency, what they were doing, and how I could help improve what they're doing. Whether it's researching some new technology or some new product, or I learned a lot about my competition, so I could help them in their office. If I couldn't write something for them, or if I couldn't be involved, I wanted to be able to at least get them in the right direction. So they saw me as a
Wow.
go-to, and I wanted to be that person that, well, if he can't do it, he'll at least find somebody that can. And that was something I always wanted to hang my hat on. And I wanted to be that go-to. And throughout my time at EMC, I was asked to be on the board of directors for the PIA of Arkansas, which was, I was the only carrier rep on that board with 15 or so other agents. So I was able to, again, learn and pick their brains and be a part of that. And through that experience, I was able to get some, national exposure. I was able to be on, trips with some of them, get to go, to Washington, D.C. for legislative flyovers and do a lot of different things to where I had a captive audience of these carrier or these
Hmm.
agents that
Hmm.
most carrier reps don't have.
Yeah, it sounds like you really had it made over there. It sounds like things were really going well. Was there something in particular that made you want to be an agent again?
Man, I'll tell you, the more and more I watched, different agents and learned what they were doing and things like that, I thought, man, I really want to give this a shot for myself. And I had
Hmm.
so many different agencies along my career that would knock on my door and say, hey, I would love to have you come work for our agency or sell, or you ever thought about selling? Because I don't shy away from people. I don't shy away from a microphone. I love being on stages. I love talking to people. So people thought, you should be an agent. So enough of
Makes
that
sense to
built my
me.
head up. Yeah, built my head up enough to where I thought, well, here I go. I'm gonna give it a shot. And went to work for an agency, and I loved it. I loved being an agent, and did pretty well there for a while. And went through some sales training courses. Went through a thing called Paysetters through State Auto, and won a cruise through that, and was the top 10 producers in that. Really just enjoyed it, and it was something that I had to do. I had to scratch that itch again.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, you had that really from birth. Having been raised by somebody who had built their own insurance agency, we sometimes don't want to turn into our parents, right?
Right.
But that's there. That influence is there, and there's definitely no getting around it. So now that you've been an agent for a while, what are some of the things that you love about being an agent compared to being on the carrier side of things?
Well, I'll tell you, as when I was an agent, I really enjoyed, like I said, building those relationships. And I'll tell you, that was the foundation
Yeah.
of my career throughout. And whether it was being involved in the Chamber of Commerce or getting involved in different boards I was asked to be a part of locally, and everything I did, I figured out quickly in my career that if you're going to do something, you get out what you put in. And so if I was asked to be
Absolutely.
on the board of directors for a local association, or being a part of a nonprofit. One of the ones I was involved in was Fellowship for Christian Athletes, and I was involved with a company called Easter Seal, just a nonprofit. And I would volunteer at every opportunity I got to get in front of people. When I was in the Chamber of Commerce, I was an ambassador for the Little Rock Chamber, and I would go to all the ribbon cuttings and be involved in the leads groups. And I figured out the more I got involved there and built the relationship and got my name out there, the better it was for me. And it was easier for me when I picked up the phone and I
Mm-hmm.
would call people. And, when I was doing my cold calling or knocking on doors, I would, be able to do that easier because people knew always, oh, yeah, I saw you at XYZ event.
Right.
Or, oh, yeah. Or I loved when people would say, man, Heath, you're everywhere. I see you here. I see you there. And kind of where the mayor thing came in, I went to an insurance convention several years back. I guess it's been almost 10 years ago. And my name badge didn't say Heath Shearon. It said the mayor on it. It's kind of a joke that they put on there, but it kind of stuck. And ever since then, it's kind of been a nickname that I've taken and I ran with. And I might as well use it to my advantage. So, any
Yeah.
agent listening out there, if you get involved in associations or get involved in your community, go all in, guys. Really, plug in, volunteer, anything you can to get in front of people and get your name out there. It's only going to help you.
Okay, so I got a little challenge for you here. I'm an insurance agent, right? I've got a book of business and I'm busy as hell, right? I'm always on the phone. I'm always doing some kind of service. I'm always, putting out fires. I've got all these things that I've got to do in my agency. How the heck am I supposed to find time to go out and build relationships? And is it really that valuable? Like, do I really need to do that, or do I just need to focus in on the stuff that's got to get done today?
Well, I'll tell you, you can't, in my opinion, you can't write business if you don't bring it in the door. And I feel like you can have all that kind of stuff. You can have all the automation. You can have the help. You can have the staff. You can have all the training on how to write business. But if you don't have any business coming in, there's nothing, for you to write. You're not going to build your book of business. And I feel like getting out there and getting involved, getting that exposure is only going to help you. And along the way, the back office stuff is where you can build out those processes and that automation and build out some of those things that while you're out doing those things, then your agency's working for you. If you've got the right automation, you've got the right processes, you've trained your CSRs and your staff correctly. And I think for me personally, it was imperative for me. And it was funny, the agency that I worked for, and if he's watching this or listening, he'll know I'm not lying. But he was like, man, Heath, you're doing some of the things that I should be doing as agency principal. And you're out you're out serving on boards and volunteering and doing all these things that, I should be doing. But for me, I just felt like it was important because I wasn't representing him necessarily. I was wanting to represent myself. And I was wanting to grow my book of business and get to that point to where every day was a challenge and every day I wanted to grow my own brand as a person and as an insurance agent, an insurance professional, so to speak.
Yeah, because when it comes right down to it, you keep saying it over and over and over again. It's a relationship business and people are doing business with you. They want to talk to you. They want to learn from you. They want to grow with you. So absolutely, it's all about this relationship business. But something that you touched on and something that I'm passionate about is the CRM automations, the staff, the systems that get put into place. Tell me a little bit about how you got that started, because I think to me, that's where a lot of agents struggle. There are so many agents out here that are doing all of that hard work on their own. A lot of agents don't know about automations, haven't set them up. They don't know which systems to use. They don't know which automations they need to create. They don't know how to train their staff. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got all of that stuff started? What systems you were using? What specific things were you training your staff for that gave you the time and the freedom to be able to go out there and build those relationships?
I'll tell you right now, a lot of that was already there when I got there. And the principal, the agency that I was working at, already had those systems in place. And, the right agency management system was in place. They had their own procedures of, Heath, here's what you're going to do. When you bring a piece of business in the door, whether it's home and auto, or whether it's in a commercial account or commercial auto or life or whatever it might have been, I knew, I had these steps that I were to take, and he had some of that laid out for me, and we adjusted some of that along the way as I kind of learned my personality. They learned how I wanted to do things, but for the most part, he had that laid out, and we had Salesforce that I would put things in, or we had the AMS system that we used at the time. We were using AMS 360, And so we documented everything on that, and we had certain procedures, and there were certain staff within the office that were tasked to do certain things. I had a good book of contractors, and so
Hmm.
I had a specific customer service rep in the office. All she did for me was those certificates. And if you're in that game and you're doing contracts, certificates is the name of the game and getting those out in a timely fashion. And she was excellent at that. And she was a bulldog on getting that information and getting that out there. I had another, CSR that I worked with strictly on my home and auto, and I would send it straight to her, and she would take care of that. And again, it was a system that I knew every time. I didn't think about it. These are the things that I do. These are the things that she does, and we had a certain time frame that we did things. So I knew whether it was for a lender or whether it was for an individual. This is how the steps went, and that's how I presented it. And commercial, same thing. She had her certain ways that we worked out a system to where everything was, second hand. I just knew as soon as I came in, this is what I do, and I didn't think about it. It was so automated that all I had to do was focus on sales, and that's what I was good at, and that's what I wanted to focus my time on. As Heath Shearon out in the field is, finding the next prospect, finding the next customer, and everything was, back office automated, and that was, a lot of kudos go to the agency that I worked for and how they had that systematized. Is that a word? Systematized? I think I just made
Yeah,
that up.
absolutely. No. It's definitely a word. I use it all the time. I'm all about I'm all about systemization. I'm all about systems and processes and standard operating procedures. So everything that you're saying right now, it's basically music to my ears. It's exactly
Right on.
what we are doing within our agency as well. And that's why, I kind of wanted to bounce from you and see what were some specific things that they were doing with you. And it sounds like we're doing, honestly, a lot of the same things. So it's really, really cool. Are you, it sounds like you're not working with that agency anymore. Are you now a principal, an agency owner yourself? And have you done a lot of the same things for your team now?
Well, no, actually, right now I do more work as an agency consultant,
Okay.
and I'm more involved with. I work with agencies under the Allstate umbrella and Encompass on the independent side. And so what I do now is working with independent agencies all over, the state of Arkansas and Arizona. And Louisiana. And I've got some agencies that I work with that I go in there and we talk about different things that they're doing, strategies we can help grow their brand, grow their business, and I do, we talk about some Encompass along the way as well.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
it's a fun little job. So I'm kind of back on the working with the agents again now.
Yeah, yeah.
I got back into that because even as an agent, I always found myself gravitating back towards helping other agents.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Whether I go, help other agents or visit with them or bounce ideas off of them. So I knew eventually I'd get back to that. And so I scratched the itch. And it's funny, I won the cruise with State Auto through their sales program. And then like a month later, or maybe a month and a half later, resigned from the agency and went back to being a consultant. And so back to working with agents. So again, I scratched the itch. I knew I was successful at it. I could say that I did it, check that off the list, and back to what I feel was my strong suit.
There you go. Yeah, you keep saying it. It's about the relationships that you're building. And I love that you are eager to share your knowledge and share your expertise and just be there to help other agents to grow. So in that spirit, what are some of your top consulting tips? What are some of your top marketing tips? What are some things that you walk into an agency and you'll look around and you'll be like, these are some things that I think you should do within your agency that's going to help you get to the next level?
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of times it depends on the different agencies, but I've got my own little soapboxes, if you will, that I stand on. And you've heard about one of
Yeah.
them, which is relationships and building those relationships. But I think another thing that I talk a lot of people about is intentionality. And I think that is something it's big, no matter if you're a carrier rep or an agent or whatever you're doing. I feel like, something that whether you're at home with your family, have that intentional time with your kids or with your spouse, or if you're in an agency, that I feel like if you're sitting there sending a half-ass email, I feel like people are going to know that. Or if you're doing things, you're kind of, not unintentionally just kind of taking notes, but if you're sitting there intentionally taking the right notes, if you're intentionally following up with your clients, if you're intentionally sending that email and taking that extra 2, 3, 4 minutes to really send the correct email, be intentional about your actions and what you're doing, I think that really goes a long way. And I feel like people will know that on the other end of that and picking up that phone and calling, the client or calling the carrier rep or the underwriter and asking those questions and being intentional with your actions, I really think goes a long way. And I think the other thing is efficiencies. I think that if you're wasting a lot of time, whether it's not being automated or not having those system processes in place that we talked about earlier, I think you're just spinning wheels, and I think you're really not going to be able to be productive. And it doesn't matter what you're using, which agency management system you're using, what technology you're using, what carriers you're using. I just feel like if you're doing it, you need to have those processes in place and use them to their fullest extent and really dive into it. You can have the best agency management system in the world, but if you're not using it properly, if you're not learning the best techniques with it, if you're not automating it the best way, I just feel like you're wasting your time and you're never going to grow to be the size agency that you can be. So I feel like intentionality and I feel like efficiency and I feel like using the technology or using the processes properly is really going to help you. And again, I'm trying to get in a nutshell because I don't know how long we have, but I could probably drone on forever about other things. But, just for time's sake, those are some of the big keys that I like to talk about.
Yeah, no.
He ain't lying.
Exactly. You're hitting the nail on the head, really, on a bunch of different things there. So I'm kind of gonna mix a couple of things here. I'm gonna throw another little challenge at you. I think that there are a lot of agents, especially in our industry, for whatever reason, insurance people are afraid of the camera more often. I see a lot of insurance agents who don't want to be on social media. I don't need everybody knowing my business. I don't want to, post all this stuff and da-da-da-da-da-da. So they almost avoid creating those relationships through social media, through posting, through doing all these things. Or maybe they're afraid to fully commit, right? And so they don't get to go to the what do you call it? The business owners groups, the BNIs, the Chamber of Commerce, those types of things. They don't fully commit. And so they are kind of half-assing it, like you're saying. They're not fully intentional because there's this fear that if I really, really commit, then man, I gotta be all in on this all the time. What would you say to an agent who's on the fence, who just hasn't quite gotten him or herself over that hump to really commit to their business?
I mean, the first thing I would say is if you're not doing it, your neighbor down the street is. The other agencies you're competing with are, and other people are, and you're just going to get passed up. And, the days of living in 1987 as an insurance agent are gone away. And I feel like, especially, we've been kickstarted forward with this whole COVID-19 thing. I know people are tired of hearing about it, but take advantage of that. We can't necessarily get out and cold call anymore. We can't sit face to face with people in their offices. So why not use the camera? And again, the other thing about it is it doesn't have to be like you've got a beautiful setup here and you've got it all gorgeous and everything looks good. But you don't have to have that. You can have, raw video. You could use your iPhone. You can, use whatever, your Droid, whatever your phone is to make these videos. They don't have to be perfect. I remember back as an agent, I would get on my iPhone at my desk sometimes. I would just send videos, little 2-3 minute chat videos, record them on my phone and text them to different lenders or different prospects I was going for, just to introduce myself. And this was several years back, and just say, hey, I'm Heath, Shearon, I'm this, I'm blah, 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 and just kind of get to the point as quick as I could and send those videos just to set me apart. And then when I did pick up the phone or when I did walk in that office, oh, yeah, we got your video the other day, or send video messages through Facebook. You and I did that before we did this. You sent me a video message. I sent you one back. I knew who you were. You knew who I was. I got to see that handsome face of yours. before I even got started with you, I already knew you, I felt like. And so, I feel like if they're not doing it, they're going to get passed up, but someone else is going to. And there's so many wonderful ways you can do, especially with the technology in your back pocket right now, or in your, in your desk, your cell phone. You've got phone, you've got video, you've got, text features, you've got it all right then and there. And most of your management systems, most of your carriers, you can get on right there on Safari or Internet Explorer, or whatever on your phone. Why not use it? I just don't understand what the hesitation is. If you do have that hesitation, because you're worried it has to be perfect, or it needs to be, something that doesn't have any mess ups or whatever. Here I am doing something live, and I'm so worried I'm going to say the wrong thing. You can't be that way. You've got to just go ahead and, just do it, go all in. There's a reason why, America's Family or Family Video, whatever that show is. I just blanked on it. Again, live.
America's Funniest Videos.
Yeah, there's a reason people love it. People love seeing that guy get kicked in the nuts, or seeing someone fall over, or a dog chase his tail, because they like stuff like that. It makes you more relatable. And so I feel like if you're going to do it, who cares if you mess up? Who cares if your hair looks bad, or your jacket's too loud, or whatever it is? Go all in and, just do it. Give it a shot, and you'll be amazed at the kind of success and the kind of response you will get. And go ahead. I'm talking for a while. My bad.
No, ain't no thing like me except me.
That's it. It's that genuineness. It's that authenticity. It's me. It's real me. I mess up. I say the wrong thing sometimes. I, stutter, stumble, forget the word, Chamber of Commerce. That's what, whatever. It is what it is. But this is, it does, like you said, make us relatable and make us human.
Another thing that, if I can add one more thing to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you're doing right now and what I did, another piece of advice I would give to agents, and I have talked to agents about, is building out niches. And I think a big way of doing that is through podcasting, or through a YouTube channel, through video, through media. And I can tell you right now that the power of social media, this power of podcasting is huge. I created a podcast 6 months ago, and the amount of attention I've gotten, I was naive. And I've said this on my podcast before. I was naive to think that I was going to create this little cute podcast that 6 or 7 people would listen to in Arkansas. And that's it. I would send it to some agents that I work with. I would send it to a few clients. And I didn't realize it was a national platform. When I put it out, it wasn't just going to people I sent it to. It was going out to anybody that wanted to listen to it. And now as my audience has grown, and as I'm knocking on the door of 10,000 listeners, and I've got all these things going on, and I get phone calls every week and emails every week from agents all over the country, and even in like the Philippines, or I've got a guy from the UK that listens, and I've got people that all over. It's humbling, and it's exciting to know that little power of podcasting. So again, going back to what you're saying, if you're afraid of it, don't, because again, I've got a face for podcasting. It's not the prettiest face for TV, but you don't have to worry about being perfect. You can edit them. You can do whatever you want, but it's an easy way to build an authority within your niche. I wanted to build mine, looks like you did too, within the insurance industry. And so I built mine around insurance, and I've really built that authority. And now I've got a nickname of the mayor, and now it's this persona. And now I'm on your show, and I've been on other agents' shows, and I've been on, stages that I never would have been on had it not been for the podcast. And you could do the same thing, whether it's HVAC or plumbing or restaurants or hotels, whatever that farming, whatever that passion is, jump in there, create a podcast, create a YouTube channel, create videos, whatever it may be. And that's an easy and fast way to build authority. I never thought I'd be at this place I'm at now through podcasting. It's incredible. Not to keep rambling on, but I just really think that that's a huge platform that a lot of people are missing out on if they're not doing it now.
Highly, highly underrated. My brother and I talk about it all the time on our other show, the Business Bros podcast. I've said it a few times on here. Podcasting absolutely is the best prospecting tool that I've ever found. All right, Mr. Mayor, last question for you. How can people get in touch with you if they want to work with you, if they need some consulting advice, if they want to listen to your podcast? For our listening audience, not just the video audience, because they can see the stuff on the screen.
Well, I appreciate that. The first thing I'll say is the podcast is called Insurance Town Podcast. And you can find it, pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, you name it. Just search Insurance Town Podcast. You'll see a black and white picture of the city of Little Rock, actually. And you can also email me at heath@insurancetownpodcast.com. And that's where most people find me. Or again, I've got a Facebook page. You can message me through there. And again, through the podcast, it's humbling and very exciting, the type of clients that I've gotten from there and the agents that have reached out to me that I've started working with, not just in Arkansas, but in other parts of the country. So again, the power of podcasting, the power of social media is there. So that's how you can find me. Also, my cell number is 501-425-3306. You can shoot me a text or you can call me up. I don't mind giving that out.
All right. Well, perfect. It did get thrown up on the screen for a second, and just for the sake of time, I was going to skip it. But you know what? Let's do it anyway. What are your top mentors, books, or podcasts that you would recommend to new agents or young entrepreneurs starting out?
Man, I'll tell you, I hate to even do this because it's going to build his head up too much. But right now, a big mentor of mine would be a gentleman named Jason Cass. He's really helped me a lot lately with the podcasting, with some things. Kelly Donahue Pirose, another mentor of mine, and she's really helped me a lot. Bradley Flowers, Scott Howell, some other insurance podcast people have really helped me through that. My boss, Dave Nichols. I've had a lot of people I could mention as mentors. As far as books go, one of the books that I'm into right now is The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. If you haven't read it, guys, it's a great book. Kind of changes that mental focus and mental mindset that people have as far as any industry goes. And then, podcast, again, Agency Intelligence. I listen to the Insurance Guys podcast. I'm a real big fan of the John C. Maxwell podcast. It's a really good one as well. I just found yours in recently, the Insurance Bros Show, and some of the other ones. So I'm sure I've missed some. Be Atomic, Ryan Hanley show. There's a lot of shows that I listen to on a regular basis, and I'm really, really thankful for all those. That's the beautiful thing about our industry. Whether it's podcasting or insurance industry, it's a small family, and we all are here to help each other out, and it's been fantastic.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Heath, it has been an absolute honor, pleasure to meet you, Monsieur Lemaire.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Really, really do appreciate you. And man, you're doing great things, and looking forward to just seeing this thing continue. And I'm definitely gonna, if I haven't already, I will definitely be a new subscriber to your show.
Yeah, we'll have to reciprocate. You'll have to come on and hang out with us at Insurance Town sometime.
Absolutely, let's set that up.
Yeah, dude.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And everybody else, as always, thank you all for tuning into the show. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media at Insurance Bros Show. If you want to be a guest on the show, I would love to have you on and learn from you as well. Like Heath was saying, we have a lot of information that we can share with one another. We're all here to help each other grow. Trust me, there's plenty out there for everybody. Would love to learn from you and have you share with our audience as well. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. And I think that's about it. That's all we got for you all today. Thank you so much. As always, you rock my socks, you have my heart, and you
Have a nice day!
Thank you for tuning in to the Insurance Bro Show. James is the CEO of the Pipeline team of San Diego and is always in the market for top talent. If you're an agent looking for a place to hang your license, visit www.pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities or send an email to newagent@pipelineinsurance.com. Look for James on all